Hello, Year 2 students. Welcome back to remote learning for TTC through radio lessons. My name is Teacher Emma, as usual. I'll be taking you through another exciting lesson about play. My dear friends, in order to support continued learning, Rwanda Education Board, in partnership with World Bank and other partners, to support remote learning for all levels of education, including TTC. In this lesson, we are also going to explore more about play in early childhood, why play is so important. And this lesson is for all options. And I want to call upon all student teachers or students in Year 1 and in Year 3. This is an opportunity for you to do revision. And I want also to call upon our beloved tutors who have been very helpful during these remote radio lessons. For in case of more explanation and questions, always don't hesitate to ask your tutors for more clarity. Thank you so much. Once again, I want to remind each and everyone, make sure you have a pen and a book, and also make sure that the environment is free from disruption such that you are able to follow our lessons very well. Great. So my friends, our previous lesson was about play. We looked at what play means in terms of definition according to different psychologists and sociologists. And we also looked at different types of play, characteristics of play, and also the role of a parent and teachers in play. So, today, again, we are still continuing with play. But I want to challenge each one of you. Through these lessons of play, I want you to take an opportunity at your homes, observe the type of play young children are always engaged in. And today we want to continue once again looking at play. And at this level, we want to look at play from a social perspective, an emotional perspective, a physical and a psychological perspective. So I'm calling again upon you to pay attention as usual. And I know you've been very good students in following these lessons. And always, as we said, once we finish these lessons or following these lessons, using your notes, try to observe within the environment where you stay the kind of games, the kind of activities young children are always involved in. Now, let us start with social play. What do we mean by social play? Of course, children are social beings. They need to interact with one another, but also they need to interact with the bigger world. Patton in 1932 defined this as a child not engaged in play, but you could think of this as the infants of play. And when we talk of unoccupied play, these are plays that normally children from birth up to 3 months are always engaged in. They also play. Have you seen babies playing? If they're happy, they play. Your baby or toddler, they move their body with no purpose or other than it feels good and interesting. You have seen babies throwing their legs up or their arms up or their head or even just making body movements. This is play. It is play much as they are so young to that level, but also that one is regarded as unoccupied play. It is the most basic type of play, so children is completely free to think, move, and imagine. Yes, at that level, they cannot move with their physical body from one place to the other, but again, we can see movement. Even if they are lying down, we get to see their body parts moving in different directions. Even the smallest object is full of wonder if you've never seen anything like it before. Choose something with lots of textures and color and avoid bright lights or surprising noises as they may startle your little one. Now, you have seen these young ones, and sometimes in most cases, you have also seen in some places, in some homes, some parents create babies' rooms, and in babies' rooms, they put in very nice bright colors. And young children love those colors. And you see them looking at them and paying attention to them. So, an example, a child-friendly household or an object. You've seen children of that age, they play with spoons, they play with everything, or sometimes they play with jelly cans on plates. For the child to be familiar with the world around him or her before you introduce objects from other environment. As parents, as teachers, it is always good for young children to start from their immediate environment. It is that immediate environment that introduces them to the bigger world. Now, remember, the first one we looked at was unoccupied play. Unoccupied play, we said these are children from birth to 3 months. Now, we have also another type of play under social play, which is solitary or independent play. Now, these are type of plays that children from birth to 2 years always enjoy playing. When a child plays alone, she learns to concentrate, think by himself or herself, and comes up with creative ideas and regulate emotions. All of these are important things for children to learn. Playing independently is important and it's normal. Some of you have seen children or even at home, and sometimes they want to play alone. It is normal. Encourage them to do that. Such children, in most cases, they are good at concentration. It helps them to be able to concentrate, and of course, that also promotes and develops creativity in them. So when you see a child playing alone, it's not abnormal. Don't think it's abnormal. Encourage them because it also helps them to develop. Another type of play, we have also, it's called Onlookers or Spectator play. This is 2 years. This type of play where a child watches others as they play and remains actively engaged through, but not physically. If you take time, and maybe once school starts and you go for school practice, during break time, go where children are playing from. There are those that will be physically engaged, and you will see quite a number when they are just standing, observing, enjoying, and they are engaged in what others are doing. That one is also okay. A child who is engaged in this type of play is so involved that he or she may even ask questions or give suggestions on whatever others are doing. So that one, in most cases, there are teachers or parents who find such children in such a place and say, you push them, go play with your friends. That is normal. It is okay for them. They are also part, psychologically and emotionally, they are part of the play, much as physically they are not into the game. Another one is parallel play. We call it parallel play. Parallel play is from 2 years and above. Parallel play, it involves a child playing alongside, but not really with or the other child. If you watch, you will notice that there is no formal interaction, but the children are often playing with the same toys and engaged in a similar activity. This type of play is very common, especially with children from 1 year to 3 years of age. Parallel play is very important as it teaches children peer regulations, observation skills, and how to get along with others as they always work independently. So how does this one work? You have materials and you have 2 children, and each child is doing a different thing using the same materials. This is also very important. there are so many soft skills that they learn, and they learn to accommodate one another, and they learn to accept that the environment is for all of them. The materials are for all of them. So if someone is not able to use a spoon because so-and-so is using a spoon, then you get to see them using a plate. So parallel play is also very important because, one, we have seen, they learn to observe. In other words, their observation skills improve. But because also sometimes as they do that, they get to also observe and see what their friends are doing. And sometimes they tend to copy, or maybe they tend to do something that is slightly different. Now, we have another type of play, which is associative play. Associative play, this is 3 to 4 years. When we talk of associative play, here, your child will play with other children, but the learners do not organize their play towards a common goal. Children play together, interacting with one another, but they don't seem to be harmonizing their activities. They take part in the same activity and do basically the same thing, but no attempt to organize the activity or take turns. Each child acts as he or she wishes, and his or her interests are not dictated by the group. So it's kind of like there's a characteristics of play in there. They are almost doing the same thing, but everyone has got his or her wishes and depending on their interest. So once this happens, normally this is 3 to 4 years. Sometimes it can go up to 5 years depending on the environment where this child grew up from. So these are all the reason why we are going through this as teachers who are going to be handling young children. You need to be able to develop and promote all these kinds of play because each one of them has got a development domain that they promote. We have got another one, which is cooperative play. Cooperative play, that is 4 years upwards. Cooperative play is more organized kind of play. The child plays as part of the larger group that has a collective goal such as making an art object or putting up a play. During cooperative play, the role of a leader and the follower are often visible. You have seen young children, and sometimes they make teams, and we have a football team. One team is leading, the other one is playing, and under each team there's a leader, or sometimes they have a common goal. They are playing and they want to win. Or if it's not in football, then they can organize a role play. They can do sorts of things, and maybe demonstration. They can carry out sorts of things. But here, the issue is that they play as a team. A child is part of the larger group, and they have a common goal at the end of the day. Now, we have also another type of play, which is rough and tumble play. If I say rough, indeed you can understand through my voice that it is indeed rough. Rough and tumble play, it has been defined as physically vigorous behaviors, such as chase, and we have seen children play fighting. They are accompanied by positive feelings between the players. It seems aggressive. When you look at them playing, you might think, oh, they are trying to be aggressive against each other, and sometimes risky, even when children engaging in it are full of joy and excitement. Sometimes when you go out during break time, you're going to see children playing, and some of them, and they're playing. You would also see some kicking each other, some chasing each other, and to them, to you who is looking at them from outside, you might think they're fighting, but sometimes they're enjoying. So that is why it is sometimes challenging for preschooler teachers to handle, even though it is important for children's development. Rough and tumble play is a social activity that usually occurs among children who have had considerable social experience with each other. This play involves, sometimes they do wrestling, tickling, or chasing each other. And this, when you see this as a teacher, you have to be observant and see that at times they don't get to run out of emotions and then end up becoming a fight. Now, we were looking at social play, and we've seen that social play has got a variety of different types of play that you can encourage young children to be involved in. So this is something that is very, very important that as teachers we need to bear into mind. We need to promote all those sorts of play, especially to the young learners. We have got children ages 3 to 6. These are the types of play that we must promote, and we've seen that they play a very vital role. Now, we want to look at play by content. What do we mean here? This is a classification according to what a child does. Content focuses on the actual play activity, irrespective of the number of children involved. Some of the identified categories are physical, expressive, manipulative, constructive, dramatic, pretend play or symbolic play, games with rules. Play and children are inseparable. Let me tell you, my friends, you are becoming teachers tomorrow. You must bear into mind that you cannot disassociate children from play. Play is the work of the early childhood. Developmental mentalists view children's play as a major means through which physical, cognitive, and of course, the psychological and emotional development takes place. Now, under play by content, let's look at physical play. When children run, jump, and play games such as chess, hide and seek, they engage in physical play. This play has a social nature because it involves children playing and working together. And this is very important. Have you seen children even at home playing hide and seek, or even running and chasing each other, or jumping or skipping ropes? So that was that one, which was physical play. Now there's an expressive play. Expressive play, certain forms of play gives children opportunities to explore themselves, their feelings, through engaging with the materials. Materials used in expressive play include, sometimes they do finger paint, using watercolors, crayons, colored pencils, markers, or clay, or they sometimes mold and make models, and then sponges, or sometimes bean bags. Parents can take an active role in expressive play by using materials alongside children. This is very important to us as teachers, but also it's also important as parents. Parents it is always good to really participate in this kind of play that children are always engaged in. One, it creates interest in them, and they really take that as important. But at the end of the day, it also helps them develop some manipulative skills. Now, we also have the sensory motor play. The sensory motor play, this is play that captures the pleasures of using the senses and motor abilities. An example, they develop the sense of touch, feel, smell, sight, and hearing. Those are senses. Young children, they engage in this kind of play and delights in things like kicking the side of the bed, or watching and turning mobile toys, objects, or sometimes you've seen them playing with kitchen utensils. So this pleasure in sensory experience as motor skills continue throughout the childhood. Children happily explore many sensory experiences. An example, From their food, they explore by feeling various textures with their hands. And you have seen very many children, always if you have something to show them, they are like, teacher, let me see, teacher, let me see. And they are trying to do that by expressing their hands up. Teacher, let me see. They want to touch. They want to feel. By watching peas floats or after they put them in their milk. So children do so many things. So they listen to sounds that they make as they drink their porridge or milk or testing, or sometimes you find children pouring water. That sounds really captures them. So it is a type of play that involves the use of the senses. Then we also have the skill or mastery play. The skill mastery play, we said that this occurs when a child is learning to do something new. Often, she uses trial and error to repeat the same skill over and over again. Skill mastery play is common when learning to throw a ball, ride a bike, swim, or swing independently. This helps children to master new skills. Have you seen children learning to ride a bike? Sometimes they fall 1, 2, 3 times. They don't give up. They keep trying and trying until they master that skill. And some of them, you find them struggling to play with the ball. It could be kicking or throwing. So all these are skills that require mastery through practice. An example, when you walk with a child to the shop or to the market, the child will skip, jump, walk backwards, run, or drive imaginary vehicles. Sometimes they have kites, or sometimes they have leaves. So all these hand skills are also developed in mastery play. For example, when they tie knots on their shoelaces, put pegs on the pegboards, or use a pair of scissors to snip through papers, and all this, it helps them. Sometimes, as adults, as parents, or as teachers, when we get to find children, they're having scissors and trying to cut papers here and there, in most cases, you find people telling them, stop it, put the razor blade, or keep the scissors away. Here, we want these children to make sure that their finer motor skills are always developed. So, better for us to be near them and show them, for example, the right way of holding a scissor, the right way of cutting using a scissor, and so many things that children do. Now, we also have another one, which is dramatic, pretend, or make-believe, or sometimes we call it symbolic play. The beginning of a dramatic play coincides with the achievement of a symbolic thinking, and it can be easily think. For example, a child is feeding and carding or punishing a doll. So dramatic play helps social development, especially when 2 or more children cooperate in creating their own drama. We have seen children at home or even at school. Sometimes we ask them to do drama, or they do. Well, drama is for children who are slightly big, but in most, especially for the very young children, we ask them to do role plays. And you have seen children role playing. I'm a mother, we have a father, we have a son, we have a daughter, and you get to see them trying to dramatize what the father does, what the mother does, what children do at home. So all this is dramatic play. And it's very important. They create these simple domestic scenes, as one from the example I've given you. And other scenes include doctor, nurse, patient, or a thief, or a policeman. So dramatic play such as this not only is fun, but it also helps children try out social roles, express their fears, fantasies, and learn to cooperate. Now, if you have ever observed children playing, or trying to act out these situations, in most cases, they try to dramatize roles. Some want to be doctors, and you get to see them trying to act out what the doctor does. The doctor treats people, there is a sick person, the doctor is giving medicine, the doctor is injecting, or the nurse is taking care of the patient. So they are trying to kind of like act situations or try to show social roles of different people play within the public. Another one that are under play by content, we have games with rules. Now, there are two types of games with rules, and especially for the young children, we have the table games and also the movement games, where each child who is involved in a game has to conform to a structure that has been put in place. So, here, in most cases, especially when we give children indoor activities, we get to really like give them instructions on how they are supposed to be playing. And this is very important because, again, it introduces them to the concept of working together, but also paying attention and also respecting taking turns. It is very important that children at a very young age get to learn to paying attention to details, but also paying attention to instructions for them to be able to perform the activity in a manner that accommodates each and every one. Now, my dear fellow teachers, do you see the task ahead of us? All this is what we are supposed to be doing. And let me tell you something. If you want to be a teacher that children will never forget, children love a teacher who employs a mixture of approaches in teaching. And play is one of them, especially for young children. And as psychologists, sociologists say, you can never separate a child from play. So whatever we are going to be doing, and sometimes people had that tradition of thinking that when children play, they are not learning. Let me tell you, if you look at the new CBC that we have now in schools, it's a mixture of approaches. There is no one approach that you are supposed to be using. It calls for integrating different approaches in the teaching process because this helps to develop learners. We have children who have got different study abilities, and therefore, the more approaches we employ within a classroom situation, the more likely that so many children are going to be learning. Because, trust me, children are different from one another. The way they are different, it is the same way that even their learning styles, the way they learn, is different. Remember, I'm emphasizing in these lessons the aspect of play. And much as we are talking about play with the young children, we have also seen even adult, even grown-up kids, they love playing. Look at the upper primary children. When it's break time, they are up in the air, they are playing, they are enjoying, it's fun. So my dear friends, as we come to the conclusion of this lesson, I want to remind you, and this is an assignment that I'm giving you, I want you to go out, even at your home, just even at your home, observe your young sisters or your young brothers, the kind of games that they play. And please try to classify them and see whether those games follow under social play or play by content. Are we together, my friends? I hope and I know, I'm very sure you're good students, that you are able to put down quite a number of notes about this, and I want you to use those notes and observe. And get your notebooks and try to tick the kind of play that you observe and the category it falls. Is it under social play? And remember, under social play, we looked at so many types of plays the same way under play by content. So my dear friends, students, teachers, parents, thank you for your participation and following in this lesson. This lesson has been developed by Rwanda Education Board in collaboration with World Bank, IE Rwanda, and other partners. Please always tune in to these radio lessons and make sure you take notes. Until next time, goodbye.